The no-name label looks Canadian. The supply chain isn't. Some no-name products have been found labeled product of Spain, product of Germany, or product of the USA. And the most unsettling part is how easy it is to miss, because the shelf tag can imply Canadian even when the package says otherwise. In this video, we're doing a simple myth bust: shelf claim versus package truth. You'll see the exact wording to look for and why one quick package flip beats trusting the sign every time. You trust the shelf tag because it feels like the store is vouching for it. But that little strip of paper can sell you a story the box itself does not back up. If you care where your food comes from, the shelf edge is the least reliable witness in the aisle. Here's how it happens in real time. You see that big yellow no-name block, clean and plain, and it reads like a local staple. Right under it, on the shelf edge, you catch a small Canada Q, sometimes a flag, sometimes a word, sometimes a category label that sounds patriotic. Your brain does the rest. Canadian brand equals Canadian product. You reach, you toss it in the cart, and you move on. And here's the kicker. Shelf labels get reused. They get swapped when items shift. They get simplified when a store prints one strip to cover a whole run of similar products. Staff change a layout fast, and the shelf talker can lag behind the item sitting on top of it. Even when nobody intends to mislead you, that tiny Canada Q can drift away from reality. The legally meaningful origin statement lives on the package you actually buy, not on the front, not in the marketing. On the back, in the small print, where it has to follow labeling rules. That's why the only move that holds up under pressure is what I call the package flip. You pick it up, you turn it, and you hunt for the country of origin line. You're looking for phrases like product of or made in. You don't settle for the brand name. You don't settle for the shelf strip. You find the line that ties the claim to the item in your hand. This matters because shoppers have reported clear mismatches. No-name frozen spinach with product of Spain. No-name instant coffee with product of Germany. No-name cornstarch with product of the USA. Those are not guesses, and they're not hidden in a separate website. They're printed right on the package while Canadian Qs sit nearby on the shelf and do the priming. Once you see it, it stops feeling rare and starts feeling structural. Store brands, also called private label, don't work like one factory stamping out the same product forever. The retailer can contract different manufacturers over time. One supplier wins a bid this season, another one wins it later. Crops change, costs change, shipping changes, and the retailer still keeps the same simple yellow branding. The name stays steady. The origin can move. That's not automatically bad. Spain grows spinach. Germany produces coffee products. The US makes a lot of starch. The problem is your decision gets hijacked if you never check. If you're buying Canadian because you're trying to stretch your grocery budget while supporting local jobs, the shortcut fails. If you're doing it for politics, for principle, or because you're trying to avoid certain supply chains, the shelf queue can drain meaning from your choice. Trusting the shelf tag is like trusting a sticky note on a suitcase instead of the passport inside. The sticky note is easy to move, easy to replace, easy to misplace. The passport is tied to rules, and it travels with the thing that matters. So here's your first rule. Treat the package as the source of record. The shelf can guide you to the right section, but it cannot certify origin. Flip the item, find the origin line, and let that decide whether it belongs in your cart. Next up, the words that sound harmless but decide the whole case. Prepared for versus product of. Two lines of text can look like the same thing. They are not. You see a sentence like prepared for followed by a Canadian company name and a Canadian address, and your brain reads it as made here. That's a normal mistake. Brands train you to treat the address like a birth certificate. But prepared for is not an origin claim. It's a paperwork clue. It tells you who ordered the product, who owns the brand, or who's responsible for putting it on shelves. In plain English, it means this retailer asked for it, and they're the name on the file. Now, put it next to the phrase that actually matters, product of. Product of points to where the food was grown, made, or processed under the rules that govern origin labeling. That line carries weight because it's about the item itself, not the office that sells it. If you want your dollars to support a certain country's farms, factories, or workers, product of is the part that answers that question. And here's the kicker. You can also run into produced for and imported for. Those sound friendly and local because the brand still feels Canadian. But imported for is basically the label whispering, this came across a border before it got to you. It doesn't tell you which border on its own, it tells you not to assume. Origin can also come in layers. A product can get packed in Canada but made from ingredients that started somewhere else. or the raw food can be grown in one country and processed in another. Labels can reflect that with split statements that are easy to miss when you only scan the front panel for a maple leaf or a familiar city name. That's why symbol hunting can mess you up. With dairy, people look for that blue milk origin logo and treat it like a stamp of truth. But that logo is voluntary. If it's not there, that absence doesn't prove it's foreign. It proves only that the logo isn't being used on that package. You still have to read the words. So let's make this fast because you don't have time to do a forensic audit in the pasta aisle. When you flip the package, look for product of first. Find it, read it, and let it anchor everything else you see on that panel. Second, scan for imported language. If you see imported for or imported by, treat that like a flare. Slow down for 10 seconds and find the actual country line. Third, check the manufacturer or distributor line. The address tells you who's accountable if there's a quality issue. That matters for complaints, recalls, and food safety follow-up. But it still doesn't tell you where the product started. Fourth, treat prepared for as a corporate clue, not an origin guarantee. It's like seeing a name on a shipping label. It tells you who the package is going to, not where it was born. Here's a mini case that explains why this keeps happening. You can buy 2 different items under the same store brand in the same trip and see 2 different origins, and both labels can be accurate. One item can come from a Canadian supplier because it's in season, priced right, or made close to the store's distribution network. Another item can come from overseas because the crop failed, the contract changed, or the category runs on global supply year-round. That inconsistency is the point. You're looking at a sourcing portfolio that shifts, not one factory with one flag on the wall.